Hi guys, how you doing? Um, so I just took a walk and I decided to do a quick video because obviously when you take some of those random walks, that's when you just get thoughts and you just want to put it out there for people who might benefit from it one way or the other. So what was I thinking about? I was just this message is mainly for my African brothers in diaspora. With the ongoing issues in the U.S., which obviously affects every black person, whether you're African diaspora or you're Afro-American, black Canadian, or black British, or whatever it is. Um, there's been a lot of people talking about the fact that, as Africans living in diaspora, we shouldn't really get involved with what's going on in the U.S. Because it is an African American problem. Or even some of the African Canadians here, people are saying things like, "Don't get involved," because it's not an African diaspora thing. But my argument or what I want to point out to most of them are, a lot of us live in diaspora. A lot of us have kids. We have we have boys. We have girls as well. So, and I keep telling people, you need to realize the fact that even though you might not think you'll be directly affected by what's going on in the US, but your kids will be affected. Think about it like, some people say things like, oh, people, the African Americans, the African Canadians, enforcement and all that. The question I ask is, do you think if you were born and bred in this society, just like our kids are going to be, our kids are going to have that kind of, do you think when you have some social contract with the society, which is more around, I'm going to an order, I would not like exhibit or sign. Can you guarantee me specifically that you would be able to stay calm and not act the way some of these individuals you have identified have been acting? I don't think so. And a good analogy I tell people is like, think about someone from Nigeria living in a space where it's supposed to be everyone, and all of a sudden, because people throw in things like, oh, what about tribalism in Nigeria and all that? But I say to people, when the policeman stops you on the road, for example, when he has to do like law enforcement and all that, the policeman stops everyone regardless. So imagine a situation, you are a Yoruba person or an Igbo person, and constantly Monday to Friday the police pulls you over because of the fact that you are Igbo. And then on Monday you'll be nice to them, on Tuesday you'll be nice to them, on Wednesday you'll be nice to them, on Thursday you will not be nice to them. You wouldn't sit down and say and be very polite to them. You would not do that. You stand up to them. You will tell them, hey, this is BS. You can't keep pulling me over for nothing's sake. You're going to get angry, and then they can shoot you. And then someone will come around and say, hey, he should have been nice to the police. He caused his own death. Why did he get rude to the policeman? Why was he rude to the policeman? That is exactly the argument I'm twisting, which I am throwing out there to my African brothers who are in diaspora, who say this is a black American problem, this is a black Canadian problem, this is a black British problem. It doesn't concern us Africans. Your kids and my kids are born and bred in this society. They're going to grow in this society. They would not have the level of patience and tolerance me and you have, because me and you still have some form of second identity. We don't feel the same level of entitlement, or the social contract we have with this society is not the same, or does not carry the same level of strength which my kids and your kids would have. So if me and you would be patient to all sorts of discrimination or racism and whatever it is, that is because we have a second identity and we can think about it, and we don't feel the social contract signed with the society is not the same. My kids and your kids is a totally different ball game. No matter how we try to indoctrinate them or make them feel African, they would still have a stronger identity tied to this society, and they will grow up feeling like this society owes them the responsibility of being a certain way. So think about it. I think I would also advise my African diaspora brothers to do a bit of reading. Go back and read the history of how black segregation and black marginalization. Stop training arguments like people of those Afro-Americans or black Canadians, they don't go to school, that's why they are messed up, blah, blah, blah. You need to understand that Poverty is not a choice. A lot of people, when you have been exposed to a very high level of systemic racism, there's been a lot of marginalization policies dating back to 200, 300 years ago. It affects the psyche of people. So you yourself coming from a place like Africa where you were, in as much as you think you suffered, but a lot of things did not affect your psyche. So you can come into this society and what you see is opportunity and you grab it. But think about the fact that if your grandfather grew up telling you stories about how much systemic oppression and marginalization they've been going through in this society, where they are it's supposed to be a level, equal level field with everyone else, and then at 12, 13, you start experiencing these things. You go out to places with your non-black colleagues or friends, and you are singled out. It starts affecting your psyche. By the time you are 19 or 20, you're not going to be as polite as you should be to the police. And then, boom, they will do stuff to you. Think about it. Let's be more objective and apply a level of empathy before we generalize things. I was out there 2 days ago protesting as well over here in Canada because, and a lot of people, my African diaspora brothers said to me, "Why are you protesting? How is this your business?" I said, "I'm doing it for my son and your son." Because remember, you don't want them to experience some of things you are experiencing. You can be patient and tolerant. They would not be that same way because they only have one identity, which is here. Every other identity we're giving them, identities we're just working towards giving them, the African identity. But their reality, which they know, will be here. You cannot guarantee that they will be understanding like you. So before you judge people, before you say all sorts of things around these people being irresponsible and they deserve the treatment the police is meting out, go back and read your history. How has poverty been perpetuated in those societies? Do you think if you were in those societies and grew up in those societies, would you act differently? Think about it.